get this thing going?
Yep.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Spacejumper podcast. My name is Jared, and I am your host. Today we have a very special crew in the house, and first off, let me just go ahead and say we're testing out a third mic for probably the second time. The first time it was kind of a hit and miss, but we got a new mic stand and everything. So yeah, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? And you could go first. I believe you reached out to me via Instagram because one of Dom was on, and you saw that he was on, and you saw his interview. But I went to your page, and man, you're doing some really amazing things also. And what I noticed is that you like to focus on like almost portrait photography, and you link up with models and people that are involved in the fashion scene and things like that, and you're able to kind of capture and give a great representation of these people and products and things like that. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and start us out and let us know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Ivan Loredo, and I'm born and raised in Houston. Been doing photography for 4 years now, so that's always been my thing. I usually shoot portraits, so that's my main expertise in photography. And so far, right now, I do other kinds of photography like real estate and I just like to have fun with it. And honestly, I like to be more creative along the way. I
think that's the key, is having fun with it. Whatever it is that you do, you have to kind of go out and just enjoy it. Nobody wants to be, doing the same thing every day and be miserable, So that's definitely a key, is finding something that you love. What about you? I honestly, I have no idea anything about your background. So go ahead and inform us.
So originally I was supposed to be here to take pictures, but now I'm here.
Yeah, we roped him in.
But my name is Jose Luis Osorio. I go by Luis, and I'm originally born and raised in New Jersey, and I just moved here to Houston, Texas, back in February of this year.
Wow. Yeah. Well, welcome to Houston. I knew a girl that she lived at my apartment, and she was always like, she always had like the best stuff. Every time you saw her, she was picking up like high quality steakhouse. And I was like, man, girl, what do you do? She was like, I'm going back to Jersey tonight. It's like one of the first times we met. She was like, I'm going back to Jersey tonight. Come find anything in my apartment that you want and take it all. And I was like, what is it that you do? And she was like, yeah, I'm on OnlyFans. She said, I make about $150 a year. And
whoa, like, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's wild. I was like,
shocking.
I was like, man, hey, I'll go to Jersey. $150 a year. but yeah, no, it's really pretty over there. We're friends. We stayed in contact and everything, and she's always sending me pictures and stuff, because she had a dog, and her dog was friends with Larry, so it was a healthy connection. But yeah, Jersey's crazy. How are you liking Houston so far?
It's almost the same as Jersey. The fact that we have to pay to be on the road, but definitely a lot of people here, a lot of different license plate for sure. Not only Texas, but right. California, Tennessee. I don't think I have seen another Jersey plate out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You still have the Jersey plates on?
Yeah, I still have the Jersey plates.
Nice. Yeah, we got to get that changed for you.
I just got my license too. I just renounced my Jersey license to get my Texas license.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. I have a friend, and his name is Barry Ramirez. Shout out Barry Ramirez. And he just came from California, and he was like, dude, I had to change my license plate as fast as I could. I mean, he was like, you go out on the road and people are flipping you off and honking the horn. So one of those people are probably me doing that, but yeah, no, it's crazy. And I'm sure that from being from Houston, you've seen the city grow over the years.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people influxing in.
Right. Coming from California.
Yeah. Cali, especially, for sure. And especially Austin, a lot of people are piling in from Austin, the whole comedy movement and Rogan moving over there and kind of starting rehoming the comedy scene, because that was out in LA and and they moved to Houston, and I mean, all the comics are moving to Houston now. I mean, Austin, Texas, and so but it's really cool to see. I like people coming over here and doing something, you know, whatever that may be, because, you know, I feel like Houston and Texas in general is just a place for people to do what they want and to follow their dreams and things like that. It's like it is the new LA, you know, it is the new California, minus the good weather and things like
that's
that.
true.
But
that's the reason why I moved here too, because I also do photography, video. I'm trying to get into like content creation influencer route.
yeah, it's a gold rush right now.
Yeah, it's just
Really, yeah.
it's just wild how
Yeah.
everything is falling into place for me.
Yeah, well, if you know how to get good footage, which, you know, you guys do, and you know how to promote and catch the viewer's attention, you know, you only have a couple seconds to catch their attention, or they're swiping to the next.
Yeah.
You know, but if you could get you find the art of catching attention and fast, then, you know, you're off to the races. I mean, the options are endless, and especially with, you know, apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you know, they have all these abilities to make short clips and push them onto viewers, you know, and there's so many people out there that are scrolling, you know, and so there's a target audience for everything. So, yeah. How did you guys meet? Was it photography?
Yeah, we actually met through photography.
It was a photo walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just for me, I got there a bit late. I was half an hour late, and I ended up finding a whole separate group. And within that group, we were just like trying to figure out where like the main group is at. We went to a parking garage, which is where I met all of them.
Yeah.
And that's where everything kind of started. Because he wanted to go to Post, and I've been to Post, but only for the cars and coffee. And I never went inside.
Right.
So he was like, "Oh yeah, let's just go to Post," and it was just like a few group of us. And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
why not?"
Yeah, Post is a different animal, man. You walk in, there's all kinds of lights and,
Yeah.
you know, the spiral staircase going up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the rooftop. You get a great scene of the buildings and kind of all these dynamics of Houston. But yeah, so you guys just met recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just met recently.
What? I love that, you know, and I love that, you know, people kind of click off, and it is what it is, you know, and
Yeah,
so
that's how
so
Houston
cool.
is too.
Yeah, I know that's the beauty of Houston, I think, for sure. But man, that's really interesting. So, you know, why did you move into photography?
So basically, originally like I started like having fun with it. Like I didn't know the business side of it, but my friend he gave me his camera, and he just like, hey, I don't need it no more. You could have it. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
But we used to go to downtown and just take pics, you know, just for like the fun of it. And then later on, I was more serious about it, and you know, I just started to like just kind of study it, you know, like study the art of photography, you know, with angles and lighting and the equipment and, you know, what not to get, you know. But as soon as I started having more time on it, I just started getting better and improving, and I think I was just starting to become more better, and then people started noticing me more, and you know, it just went from there, you know. It's just
Right. Man, isn't that crazy how that happens? You know, it's you produce good products, and the rest kind of does itself, you know.
Right,
And so that's one thing I did notice when scrolling through your profile is that, you know, you're active, you know, you're very steady with producing photos and good photos, if that. And so I think that there's definitely you know, like there's room for everybody, you know, and you know, everybody's artistic, and I love when people exercise that art. So what about you? What kind of led into photography for you?
For me, it all started. I feel like everyone that does photography will recognize the name Peter McKinnon, some Canadian photographer. That's where everyone kind of got influenced, and I was one of those that got influenced back in 2017.
What influenced you from his work?
It's just the fact that it was mainly him using Photoshop, and I kind of want to do something with Photoshop. So I ended up getting a really late Christmas gift from my parents. I got my first camera, which was a Canon T6i in March. And then from there, I just started using it. And a couple of years or not even a couple years. Like I think within 1 year, close to a year, I upgraded to the Sony A7 III.
Oh wow.
And then from there, I moved to a different camera brand, which is this one that I'm shooting right now, Fujifilm. Just because I don't know, I just want to do something different. I feel like not a lot of people I feel like it's more like if you know, you know, because when people first start out into getting a camera, they think of the big three: Canon, Nikon, Sony, but they never think of like the other camera brands.
Right.
So I just picked up a Fujifilm just because I wanted to be different.
Wow, I like that. And do you like it?
I like it. I love the colors. It's pretty unique. Like it's really like when people see a picture of a Fuji that was taken from a Fujifilm camera,
Right.
they can tell like, oh yeah, like that's taken on a Fujifilm camera just because of the colors.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. It has its own little unique style. I like the casing that you have on that thing. It's like a protective. What is this? Like a protective guard?
Yeah.
Or is that part of the camera? Or is that an add-on?
I just added this on just for add a little bit more grip to it in case if I end up or not even grip, but like adding like a crash guard just in case I end up dropping it or somewhere, or just placing it down pretty hard. But two, since I do video, is where I mount like my microphone, my monitor.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it's crazy the customization that you could do with these things, you know. And I'm looking at this, and I didn't even realize that there was ports on the top for mounts and stuff. But man, that's so cool. Yeah, and the cameras are so expensive. You kind of have to really take good care of them, you know. And I was doing a podcast the other day, and you see how this cord's kind of a little short. Well, I pulled on my laptop a little bit. The camera fell. The cord broke off in the camera, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so screwed. I mean, you guys know the price of these things too.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here and I'm sweating bullets. You know, I have tweezers back there, and I'm pulling out like little shards of like busted metal, and I'm like, man, my camera's screwed now.
Damn.
And so Philip Emerson actually reached out. He was like, hey brother, is your camera okay? If you need a replacement, or a temporary, you know, let me know. So I thought that was nice of him. But yeah, it's ridiculous, these cameras, but you know, it's a different beast. And you know, you go from you get a camera and you're like, oh, this is why people use them, you know, and so it's really incredible the amount of technology that's just shoved into this little bitty handheld device, you know. And so what would you would you guys say that the lens is really important?
Yeah, it's always important. Because one thing, when I was getting into photography, people were saying on YouTube, it's like you can buy like the most shittiest camera, but if you have a good quality lens, the image is gonna come out good. Because if you have like a pretty bad or like busted lens, it's not gonna come out as good. But it also depends the type of style you want to go for. Because I know when I had my Sony camera, I would buy vintage lenses just so I could get like that weird, unique look that you can't get like on modern lenses.
Oh. Yeah, that's crazy, and the lenses are go up there in price too, you know. And,
they're way more than the camera body itself.
Yeah, and I know when I started looking, I was like, oh my god, like I budgeted out for the camera body, and I was like, maybe I'll get like a kit where the lens comes with it, and then I started looking at the lenses and the different angles and stuff, and I was like, I can't go with the kit lens. I was like, well, you got all the rest. I mean, I have to kind of follow through, so. I don't actually know the specifics on the lens that I have, but it works well. I think it's 35 to 70 or 60 to 15, 16.
Yeah, 1635. Yeah, it's a pretty decent lens you got there.
Man, yeah, I know. That was heartbreaking to swipe the card.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But it works. So what about these lens covers? I know I have a good friend that lives in Austin. He does photography. Shout out Tiny Bison Films, my boy Bryce out there. But here's the thing. So he told me that as soon as you get like he knows a lot more terminology than me, but it's like almost like a filter or something on the end of the lens.
So yeah, it's a lens filter. There's different kinds of lens filters. There's an ND filter. There's a more like a cinematic filter. Make the photos look more like more hazy, more like with
movie style.
Like movie style, yeah. And it kind of like affects like the way you shoot. Like especially at nighttime, because if you use those lenses, those lens filters, then it makes the photo look more like cinematic or more vivid, you know.
Would you guys recommend a lens filter for this? Like, is there anything that would like clear up the image, or is that the clearest in like a highlighting setting?
That would be the clearest. For me, I can probably show you on this one. I have it's like a Promise filter, so it creates that hazy look. So if you put it in front of a light,
you can actually do it right there.
I see.
And it just softens the image, because for me, I don't like the digital hard look of an image, and like it does get rid of some blemishes and stuff like that. And I always use this all the time on my lenses, or I actually don't even remove it from my lens. I always keep it on and take pictures with it, just because it creates that haze. Are they real
delicate? Because when I grabbed it, I feel it didn't feel delicate at all.
It's still glass,
but it made me nervous. I'm like, oh no, like I don't want to touch the lens.
The quality is very good. It's glass, like hard glass. It's not gonna break.
Yeah, these companies are crazy, man. When they get to their add-ons,
and
you know?
those are expensive as well. Like one of those goes like $50, $60.
Wow. Yeah, and it adds up quick, you know, and especially if you're buying a couple of them for different settings and different lighting events and things like that. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
I have one. Is the Sandbloom by Moment. It makes, I have that one. That one's really nice for nighttime photography. Like it kind of like brings the light more hazy, more effect. You know.
Yeah, man. It's so crazy what you could do to these, when you're capturing these images and how you can almost change the experience of the viewer, when they're looking at it, what do they think of? What is their, how does it make them feel and things like that. So, and that's why photography is interesting to me, because there's so many ways to go about it, and it's not just snap, like here, like, let me snap a photo. It's like, let me think about this.
It's a whole creative process. You know, you have to be really good at that. If you're really good at that, you're definitely going to capture a story. You know, like if you know how to capture a story, it brings out so much attention to like the viewer. And I feel like to learn that, it helps you like a lot, you know?
Yeah, I could definitely see where that would be very, very important. So how do you guys approach your photography style? Like I saw your photography, but what about you? What kind of style do you usually tend to veer towards?
Oh man, to make a long story short, like I've been through so many phases in my like photography and video. When I first started out, I feel like it's pretty normal for everyone want to do portraits and stuff like that. But for me, I was like super awkward to talk to people, or like I didn't know how to pose people at all.
Right.
So I kind of steered away from doing
Put
portrait.
your hand on your hips. I would be like, oh my God, my face would be red.
Yeah. I'm just like, and then especially when you're trying to get them smiles, like how do I get a genuine smile?
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, so I ended up doing a lot of street photography, because I was watching this other YouTuber by the name of Evan Ramp, who was from Atlanta, Georgia. And he would just like do street photographies out there in downtown, midtown, uptown. And I really like how his approach was on street photography. So I kind of been doing street photography for quite a while. And then from there, I ended up getting into, I guess, more in the content creation realm, like where I kind of document my own day, take some self-portraits, and then kind of have a carousel pictures of like things that I've done throughout the day, through the month or whatever, just so I can at least be more relatable and look more human.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, especially since like the goal that I want to get into is like hopefully like land sponsorships, brand collaborations and stuff like that. So I don't want my Instagram to just mainly be like client work. I just want it to be like the things that I like to do. For example, when I first moved here in Houston, out of an impulse purchase, I bought my first motorcycle.
What'd you get?
I got a cruiser, nothing too crazy.
Nice.
I got a 2009 Honda Spirit, Honda Shadow Spirit, and it's a 750cc. When I told my managers about that, they're like, "Yeah, you're pretty crazy for getting a big engine." I was
was that your first bike?
Yeah, it's my first bike too, and but I'm kind of glad that I did get a bigger engine, because I'm able to at least take it to the highway without like damaging too much the engine.
Right.
But I also want to do like some like incorporate like I said, I bought my motorcycle. At least incorporate some of that stuff. Get some brands to send me some stuff to either like helmet, gears, upgrading some stuff on my motorcycle, or
Man,
like
that sounds like fun. Yeah, see, I'm a big car guy. I like cars. I like anything with the engine. I when I was probably 19, maybe 18, well, this is actually a story. I won't go too deep into it, but my dad at the time, he was in the hospital, and so he'd been in the hospital for a couple. Well, it was like a prolonged event, so he was in there for a couple months at the time, and so I told him, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle. Oh, you're not getting no motorcycle, whatever. Well, being a young dumbass, and being me, of course, I had a four-wheeler at the time. It was my dad's four-wheeler, but I had it fixed up. I had it lifted. I had tires, snorkel. It was decked out. And so I found this motorcycle online, and I was like, man, this is a nice ride here. And so, I went in the filing cabinet, pulled the title to the four-wheeler, drove to Louisiana, did a even swap for this bike. And I told him a couple days later, hey, I got that motorcycle. How the hell did you do that? Well, I traded the Grizzly for it, and yeah, I didn't hear the end of that one.
Oh man!
And but luckily it was a good bike, and it had value until I slid it on the ground. So that's a whole nother story. I was acting up on it one day and trying to do some wheelies. I mean, it was a 1,000cc bike. It was nice. Yeah, it was completely unnecessary for me.
Right.
But yeah, I was acting crazy on some back roads, doing wheelies and stuff. Well, I was driving normal. I'd slowed down. I wasn't acting too crazy at the time. I hit the front brake, and it was in some rocks, dude. And that front tire just slides out from under me. And that was the end of that. I had road rash all over my body. I mean, I was probably doing 40, 45. And I had a helmet on, but I was wearing a T-shirt and shorts. And so I landed on the concrete, and I could see the concrete just flashing in front of me, just going. But my arms were staying steady.
Right.
So it was just shaving away all the flesh of all my arms. It was terrible. It was the hands down. If somebody says what's the worst pain that you've ever had in your life, it's definitely having road rash. And it wasn't the initial event that got me. It was in the evenings when I'm laying down at night, and even I have all the fans off, but the air current in the room, I could feel it on all my nerve endings, and it was the worst. It literally the worst pain that I've ever had in my life. So yeah, I ended up selling my bike. I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like I'm too stupid for this right now, But as I got older, I'm 20. I'm about to be 28. So that was 10 years ago.
Okay.
And honestly, I wouldn't mind getting like an old school Harley or something. Something calm. I don't need 1,000 cc's. I don't need to do wheelies. I don't need to do 170. And which is a completely different outlook on life. I mean, tunnel vision is definitely a real thing, which is, like I said, I was an idiot when I was young. But
people even ask me, like, am I scared? Especially being here in Houston, I have way too many close calls. Like,
I'm
not sure how I'm
still,
crazy. And that's what I realized, because I'm just like, I mean, it feels like playing Russian roulette every single day when you ride that, because you never know what's gonna happen. But as long as you're mindful. And I'm always like I said, I had so many close calls, but I was always like aware and thinking like 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, that's definitely necessary. Especially when you're on the road. I mean, these people are texting too much and getting in, not using their blinkers and just freaking switching lanes. It's dangerous, but it's so fun. It's a whole new experience when you're on this freaking mechanical animal. And you're just hauling ass. So. Yeah, that's definitely wild. So what about you when you're, as far as photography goes, what inspired you to move into this creative aspect with the portraits and stuff? I know you had that you that's kind of your initial moving into, but I guess how do you exercise your creativity when you're going to these shoots?
So usually, when how do I plan it? Is that what you're trying?
Yeah, because I mean, from what I saw, you're meeting with a bunch of different people that are there to, I guess, are these your clients, or I mean, how does that work? I like I said, I know nothing about photography, so.
Yeah, so for the most part, it's mostly my clients and mostly the people I work with and models as well. So it's a bit of everything, but mainly clients because at the end of the day, it's still a business, and I always try to make sure that it's business orientated at the same time, but also artistic in a way. To plan it out, it's not usually it goes through like word of mouth, like. That's the biggest key to photography, word of mouth, because that's how you get so much people you could work with, so much opportunities out there, and the more the merrier, because like it's more easy to do it than because people struggle with finding people to work with, or like what's my circle and this and that, but I feel like if you have enough of that, it's not that hard. It flows easy, like people already know your work. They already know how you are. Kind of already know the image or the kind of like editing. A lot of clients look for the editing style when it comes to hiring a photographer. They like to see like the editing you do, or just mainly that, because I mean anybody could take a picture, like.
Sure, yeah.
But
and how do you go in and edit these things? I mean, you don't have to give away all your secrets, but
no, we usually so Lightroom is what I use to edit.
And this is a program.
It's Adobe.
Okay.
Adobe. It's like
Shout out to
Photoshop.
Adobe, yeah.
I know Adobe. It's holding it down for photographers since when they started.
Yeah, I run through Premiere myself, so yeah.
Yeah, Adobe's really good. There's also some other editing like softwares, but mainly a lot of people use Lightroom. Some people even use Visco, like their filters for editing, because they're pretty nice.
What's Visco?
Visco is like an app. You know what it is?
Yeah, it's almost like Instagram, but like you just mainly post. Well, I think it is like Instagram.
So it's like mainly a social media.
Yeah, it's like you could post your iPhone pics there, and you could just edit them out and just post it.
Oh, that's cool, man! It's crazy, the technology these days. I mean, everything's at the tip of your finger. The touch of a button or touch of a screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think that just like anything, I think building relationships and kind of building. I guess building relationships is building a brand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, I think that and along with the editing process, and I'm sure you have somebody that's like, oh my God, like look at this cool portrait that we from our session the other day, and they show one person, that person.
It just goes everywhere. It's just that's the power of social media.
Yeah, it's incredible, really.
Yeah, like it brings, I mean, all kinds of people, but it brings more exposure to your work. The style of like you do.
Right. I think exposure is definitely the name of the game, and in social media and things like that, it's just it's the most important aspect, I think. Along with doing good work.
Yeah, like me personally, I use mainly Instagram because that's where mainly all the people I work with come from. On TikTok, it's a little bit more, it's kind of weird. I don't usually do too much TikTok, but people say even on TikTok, you get people as well, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's crazy, the different algorithms that these apps have, and trying to figure out how each one of them works. I know I have another good friend that he's an artist, and he goes around and he paints people's portraits and things like that. And the way that he approaches Instagram is completely different from the way he approaches TikTok, and it's crazy because you have certain times of the day where things hit harder on Instagram, and certain times of the day where it hits harder on TikTok. So the algorithm, it's deep, man, and it's really cool to see how complex it is, and then I guess the key is to look at people that are successful on those apps and, to see what they're doing. And
Right.
me, I like to
Yeah.
kind of cut corners, and
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'll follow somebody that is doing excellent and they're getting good follow or, good
Good
feedback
following
and things
stuff
like
like
that.
that. Yeah, yeah.
And so I'll see, when they post it, I posted 10 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I'll look at it. And if it's, 3:10 now, I'm like, okay, I'll make a little mental note. 3:00 is a good time.
Right.
So,
yeah. There you go.
and I guess there's different age groups that use the apps too. So I know that the more like funky, goofy content that he
Yeah.
makes, he throws on TikTok because he's he knows that he's kind of focusing on the the younger generation and because there's a lot of children on TikTok and
Yeah.
things like that versus Instagram where you have a lot of
Mid-20s.
adults and
Adults,
people
yeah.
that are doing businesses and
Yeah.
running businesses.
That
and things like
Instagram is mainly for that age group. Yeah, if you think
Right.
about it, because not many like young people really be on Instagram
Right.
like that for use, like for purpose,
Right.
like. But usually like people like in their mid-20s and mainly that's the audience
Sure.
for Instagram. That's
and even kids that are in middle school, they run TikTok because Instagram is also a part of Facebook. And
Yeah.
parents these days they have a thing like, oh, you can't have a Facebook, so then that kind of cancels Instagram out and leaves TikTok. But
Yeah.
there's some crazy stuff on TikTok
Yeah,
too.
there's-
So I
yeah,
mean, I don't I guess to each their own. But yeah. So when you guys are going out to do to like make us to go out and do photography, what kind of equipment are you guys typically using? I mean, is it just the camera? Are y'all bringing a tripod or?
usually what I bring is a camera, a tripod as well, and like external lighting, like a light strobe and stuff.
Ah,
So
okay.
kind of like that right there.
Right.
Yeah, and like flash.
Nice. Man, I just recently bought one of those DJI Ronin gimbals.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Ronin too, and it's nice. I got it for that, and then I was like, man, I probably don't need it because I'm not going out and taking footage.
Yeah, that's how I am too. I have
Um,
a gimbal myself, but I think I've only used it probably twice, and that's it. And I'm just like, man, I kind
Yeah.
of regret buying that gimbal.
Yeah, I like a gimbal for like the iPhone or something
iPhone,
like
yeah,
that.
the iPhone.
But man, I have this big old clunker. I'll go grab it so I
Yeah.
can show everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Oh wow.
But yeah, big old clunky thing, man. And I mean, what am I going to use this for? And I got it because I was like, man, I am going to go out and get some, maybe I'll take some footage or
Yeah.
And I was trying to get honestly when I got this and I made the decision to purchase it, I was trying to get some footage for the intro to the podcast, so I have the intro and outro music, and I was trying to add some like really cool Houston vibes to
Yeah.
the intro and outro. But and I had contacted a couple of photographers on Instagram, like, hey, can I buy some footage from you or whatever? And they never actually reached out to me. So if you guys have any footage of like cool angles of Houston, let me know. But
gotcha.
yeah, I was like, man, forget this. I'm just gonna go out and get my own footage.
Yeah.
And then I got it. I was like, I think this is too much. This is
Yeah.
I already have enough on my plate. Because
Right.
just the podcast alone and doing the edits and everything is
Yeah,
just
no, it's
dude,
very
such
time consuming.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. But yeah, these things they're so nifty because you could once you get the camera properly balanced on there and everything, it just looks
Yeah.
so smooth. But like I said, I think it's a little too much for me. And shout out Amazon because it's been about a week and a half and they usually still take it back. So
Right? Yeah.
but yeah, the equipment, it gets crazy, and even when people are going out and filming, I'll see them, for instance, for Coffee and Cars on Sundays, they'll go to Catalina Coffee. I don't know if you guys have been
Yeah,
out
I've
there
been
yet.
there. Yeah.
It's a big hit. I see everybody, they're holding these big old freaking gimbals and their cameras in there just like gyrating or whatever,
Yeah.
and so, but I've seen some of the footage that comes from that, and it's just
Yeah, it's crazy.
amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, it looks like the intro to like Need for Speed, like a new Need for Speed game or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. So what you mentioned that you bring lights out there like strobe lights and things like that. What importance does the lighting have in different sets?
You'd be surprised. That's one thing that I feel like everyone should learn if you're getting into video or photos, to understand lighting, because depending where you have the lighting, you could actually enhance someone's feature pretty well. Like if they have pretty good cheekbones or pretty good jawline, depending where you have the lighting, you can definitely kind of pronounce those features pretty hard.
With like shading and
Yeah.
shadows, I see.
And because I know, like for me, I don't do any portraits, but I do concert photography. That's why I moved here to Texas, because I hit up this one band that I listened to. Their name is Vortex, and then from there, it
Is
was
that
at
rock?
Warehouse. Yeah, it's like indie music, indie rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I went to Warehouse Live, which it was my first time being here in Texas. So like they were saying, oh, it's a pretty good venue, like pretty big venue, and taking pictures right there. I took pictures for Orion 224.
Oh wow.
And they're also another indie rock band. And then a month after, when I came here to Houston in January, this other band that I'm their official like videographer, like content creator, is Midnight Beverage, and I did one photo shoot with them, and we used like the fairy lights, and we had like those like panel lights that you got back there,
right.
to do just some like lighting, or to do some photography, and me just trying to figure out like what's the best way to do the lighting, because it was a group of 5. So like imagine just like, because doing portraits for one person is easy, but like the fact that I was working with 5 people and trying to make sure like the lighting is not affecting one person or another,
Right.
was super
And
difficult.
everybody's moving around a
Yeah.
little bit,
That's-
so yeah.
But
Yeah.
then especially like at venues, like it's really hard because the lights, there's strobe lights, there's a lot of different colors going on. I know like there's another band that I also took pictures of. Their name is Elevator Days, and I know for their set,
I
it
feel
was
like your
mainly
Spotify is pretty popping.
yeah, it is, like because of me coming here, like there's just so many new bands that I listen to and just put on my Spotify. But like their set, when it was at Warehouse Live like a couple of weeks ago or like last month.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish your story, but
All
I
right.
just lost visual for
Oh
some
boy.
reason. I know. Yeah, we'll go ahead and finish this story.
All right.
You said you were in
Yeah, I was in Warehouse Live, and for Elevator Days, like for their set, like the lighting was like a lot of blues, a lot of greens, and like a couple reds. So it was when it got to the editing part, it was like really hard to trying to at least bring back like the skin tones. But I don't know how I did it, but I managed to at least work with what I got. But yeah, lighting is super important for anyone that wants to get into like in visuals.
I know my friend Cringe. He's a rapper here, a local rapper here in Houston, and he came and did the podcast. And he came in, and he was looking around, and after the podcast, he was like, "Hey, brother, I have to do this." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever you need." He's up there like changing the power of the
making
yeah,
it cooler, warmer.
yeah. And so I am not the best at it yet. He was telling me about the shadows and how
the shadows.
you want to kind of get these wet things in certain
Yeah.
ways for production and things like that.
Yeah.
And he honestly taught me a lot. I was in a little bit of a rush today, so I didn't get to kind of like scientifically go over there and move the lights up and down and change the coolness. But let me go over here. I don't know why I lost visual, and I think that it's because I pulled the camera back so far that the fan isn't cooling it. So let me go check.
Got it.
All right, and we are back online. I'm not sure what happened. I think that it got a little warm, which is odd. But I made sure that that back fan was on high,
Right.
so it's maybe pulling out some warm air. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm watching it. It's one of those things. Like I said, this is actually episode 31.
Wow.
And we are on week 9 of running podcasts, and I try to hit at least 3 people a week and try to because it seems to work well with the schedule, and because you do the video, the actual podcast, and you have to kind of cut it, make cuts.
Yeah.
You don't want to sound like a goofball either,
Yeah.
you know, because in some of these podcasts, I'm like, yeah. So I'll try to cut that out. And, but yeah, it's definitely been a learning thing, is getting these podcasts going, because you have to learn how to keep things interesting and keep the conversation going and stay on topic. So it's a big learning phase for me. But yeah, episode 31, and we're 9 weeks into it. So I don't have any plans on stopping. This week is actually a busy week. I had 7 this week. So I had 2 yesterday, 1 today, 1 tomorrow, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday. So
Wow.
yeah, it's definitely, it's popping off like by word of mouth. You know, people
Yeah.
are telling people, and then you know, some people are reaching out. I'm reaching out to some people, and now I'm booked for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, we're steadily getting it. And each podcast you figure something out, whether it's in the editing or in the camera or something like that. So it's a process that you have to kind of work through. And if somebody would ask me, you know, like, you know, where do you think you'll be by episode 30? I don't even know. I mean, I've learned so much from episode 1. You know, episode 1, I started it, and you know, the first guy that came, John Locke, he's with Food Not Bombs here in Houston, and they feed the homeless. They're going through like this big lawsuit right now where the city was trying to sue them for giving out food in like an unauthorized area or something. It was just downtown, right on the corner and stuff like that. But it was something they've been doing for 10 years, but they got a new mayor and they caused some issues. But anyway, so yeah, John Locke, he was coming on, and dude, I was so nervous. I was like, cause I was studied up on this guy, and I watched all his videos on social media, all his videos on the news. There's people interviewing him and things like that. And I'm like, okay, first episode, let's go. And so he gets in front of me, and I'm like, you know, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you know, cause it not only was it surreal that, you know, I was actually chatting with him, but it was also surreal that I'm sitting in a podcast studio that I had pieced together over the past couple months, you know. And so it was still a bit of a shock to me, but yeah, it definitely takes dedication, whatever it may be, you know, whether in photography or you know, portrait paintings or things like that. You got to commit, you know, you got to kind of dive in head first and say, you know, this is what I'm doing, and there's no room for failure, you know, and just kind of making adjustments to make sure that you don't fail in the future, because failure is gonna happen. You know, I had a guy on yesterday that he has 400,000 followers, and he's like he runs like a couple fitness pages. I mean, dude's jacked. He's a personal trainer and things like that. Mm-hmm. But you know what he was saying is, you know, all the winners have lost a lot. You know, everybody that's won something has also lost, and you just kind of got to realize, like, just because you lose or you have lost doesn't mean you're not a winner. You know, that's just life. You know.
The how does the saying go? You miss.
You miss the shots you don't take.
Oh yeah, you miss all the shots you don't take, and that's true.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, it's true though. I mean, if you don't make the effort or to make the jump,
you gotta make the move. You know, you just gotta be confident.
Right.
You know? And a lot of people are like scared of taking action because you can't grow if you're not taking action. You're not risking it.
That's right.
You're not making sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people that haven't made those taking risky jumps, you know, and made sacrifices.
I mean, the biggest sacrifice, or like the biggest leap of faith I took, is, like I mentioned, I moved here from New Jersey to Texas, and
that's crazy.
Keep in mind, I have no family here.
That's crazy.
And I just barely knew like people. Like when I first came here in January, like I only knew a couple of the photographers, a couple of band members, but not like close enough to like, oh yeah, like, you know, I can at least like conversate with them, because I was still a bit nervous, like meeting new people. And because of Joel, which is like their main photographer for Vortex, he was like, hey, like, and this other girl named Giselle that was also taking pictures for them. Both of them were telling me like, hey, like, if you want to pursue this and see where it can take you, just come to Texas. Like Joel, I think it was like I don't even know how long he's been taking pictures for them, but like it's going super well for him. He was like, hey, like if you're just like, you know, if you commit yourself and you stay consistent, like anything can happen. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just find a job here and just try to chase a dream.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. First off, moving from all across the United States that's a leap. You know, and
27 hours on car ride. I saw the
nuts,
sun.
brother.
I saw the sun rise, set, and rise again.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nuts. Yeah, and you just packed your stuff and came.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love stories like that, though. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't have the guts to do that. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna move to Houston. I'm gonna move to Houston," and then they wake up and they're like,
It's
"Am I really gonna move to Houston?
like, do I really want to go here? I barely know anyone."
Yeah.
Like that. That's why he was more like he got intrigued with my story because he was surprised that I have no family here. Like I even before I like 100% wanted to come here. I just wanted to make sure like maybe if I do have family here, I can save myself like a couple bucks. And my mom, she was like, no, like unfortunately they're all either on the east, on the west, or like Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, but like we got none here like in the south. I was like,
wow, well, time to lay some roots down. You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I was just like, well, I mean, fuck it. I'm gonna just move here and just, I mean, it's time for me to grow.
Wow. So you said that he was saying that you were intrigued with this story. First off, I know you guys said that y'all kind of crossed paths, but how long ago was this?
This was literally the 12th of this month.
Wow.
It was a Wednesday. It was the
It's
second
crazy
Wednesday.
how that works, you know, and you said you don't have any family around here, but you do, you know, like, I mean, it's crazy because, you know, actual blood relatives aren't always family, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's true.
And some of the people that you come across with, they got your back, you know, and they're there. Do you guys have any plans on collaborating in the future?
I know we are working on
something. We are working on the meetup, actually.
Yeah. I don't want to say much, but it's
actually, yeah, I could say it.
Go ahead.
We're basically hosting our own like photo walk on July 27th.
Yeah, 27th.
So it's gonna be me, him, and then some other photographers, and it's gonna be at Herman Park.
Yeah.
At 7:30, it's gonna be pretty big because, I feel like it's gonna get a lot of engagement. We're gonna bring the whole city down here.
Wow. Hey, I got a camera. I'll pull up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, anybody with the camera could pull up.
I'm gonna be like,
just wanna
hey,
like bring the community together.
Bring your
take
iPhone
this
too.
photo.
Yeah, even people with iPhone could
I need some help with this thing.
We really want to do it because we kind of want to like bring like the community together, like people that are into photography, but also it could be anybody that wants to like practice with cameras and even if you have an iPhone, I mean, you know, mainly just to like network and just have fun at the same time, you know.
Right. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, don't tempt me. I'll pull up.
Yeah, we're gonna post it either today, tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Okay.
We're gonna post so if you see on my feed,
I'll share. I'll share it on my
yeah,
stuff
we're
too.
gonna do the collaborating thing. You know, when you post, you could collaborate with other people.
Exactly.
So that should get a lot of reach.
Wow. Yeah. Dom's Carter is a good one, and then just the kind of the guys that I talked to earlier this month.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all.
I actually get whenever I look for ideas, I actually look at his page because that's how I kind of get inspiration for some ideas.
Right. Yeah. Other artists, other creators spark the ideas of creators. You know. I think it's good to collaborate. It's good to work with these people that have other ideas than yourself. You know, and that diversity and you kind of are able to hit a full spectrum rather than just one.
Yeah, because it's easier with the team. I mean, it's easier with a group of people. Like it brings more. It's just much better. Makes it more easier. Just to do everything by yourself is really hard. It's not easy, but it just takes more work. You know?
Does.
Right.
Yeah, it really takes more work.
What about people such as myself that don't feel like they have adequate photography skills? I mean, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that likes photography that doesn't know anything about it?
For me, like I mentioned earlier, just you got to learn lighting.
Yeah.
one, just recognizing that you could buy like a $2,000 body camera, but like if you have a $50 lens, your image is gonna come out like crap.
Trash, yeah.
Especially on the camera settings, always turn on the rule of third because that can help you with composition. Because I know like my first mistake doing photography was always having everything in the center, and when I took like photography 1 and 2 back in Jersey for university, they were saying that most of the time that can work, but like visually looking at something, it has to be like on the rule of third. So either in the upper right corner, lower left corner, depending where like the lines intersect.
Yeah, basically like composition.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta find the right composition in your photo, and just don't be scared of just
trying something new.
Yeah, trying something new. You gotta experiment.
Like image distribution.
Yeah, you gotta experiment with your work. You know, that's how you become better. You gotta be different. You gotta stand out. You don't want to be average. You know.
Right. And when you guys were saying that y'all are organizing this meetup, one thought that I had is, you know, Houston is so humid. So how do you battle bringing these electronics out in these environments? I mean, is
we just
there
stuck it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Mainly, it's like I know, like in the group chat that he invited me in, which is like where we're planning the whole photo walk, was like trying to figure out when is like the best time day to do it. And we kind of all lean towards like later in the evening, like 7:30 past 8, because we still have the sun out, but it's gonna be at least a bit cooler. Even though like I've been here in Texas for 5-6 months, and even at night it's just freaking hot.
I know, and you don't even realize you get so acclimated to the outside environment. I didn't really realize how humid it was here until I flew. I forgot. I think I flew into Utah or flew into Vegas, and I flew back in. And as soon as I get off the plane, I mean, literally, as soon as I get off the plane, a big wave of water hits me.
Dude, that's how it was when I flew here. I was like, God.
Yeah, that's what happened to me when I went to LA, and I came back and I was like, I feel the humidity.
Yeah,
over there is like there's no humid.
Yeah,
there's no humidity over there in Cali.
I've never been to Cali, but
no, Cali is different.
This is definitely like salamander weather.
Yeah, because like I've been to California for a week to see family, and it's crazy how it is like the weather there. Because I went there in the summer. In the morning it's like cold, breezy, and during the day it's like hot, and then once it gets like past, like right around sunset, is when it gets like cooler.
Yeah,
again.
around 6 or 7. That's when it gets to like drops to like 70.
Yeah.
Wow.
73,
so
75.
I kind of got used to that weather for that whole entire week, because I was like, okay, like I can get away with wearing a long sleeve and shorts, and I'll be fine for like the whole entire day.
Right. Man, I love the mornings in general. Like, I don't know how you guys' sleep schedule is or anything, but man, if I'm not up by like 6:30, if I'm not able to see the darkness of the sky turn into light, you know, and the sun start peeking up over the I guess the
sunrise.
the edge of the earth, then it doesn't feel like a day to me. You know, it feels like almost like a wasted day. I love being outside. I love being seeing the start of a day and also the end of a day. So I don't know why, you know, and that may be because, you know, I grew up almost in the country, and I mean, literally an hour and a half out of here, there's a little town called China, Texas, and it's home to me. And so when I go back, you know, I'm able to look up at the stars. I mean, you could see every star in the sky.
Oh, wow.
Versus here, you know, in the city,
like pollution.
Dude,
so
you look up and man, you may see like a couple specks of stars in the air, but the quality of
the air quality.
The quality of just like the visualization in the country is just something else. And so, you know, you wake up in the morning, you could see, you know, trees and birds and squirrels running around, and so there's definitely an art to it, and I guess that's maybe why I like morning times, you know. So I don't know, it's just one of those things.
No, you're not the only one. I like waking up in the morning. I know I'm trying to get into a routine to at least wake up at least 6:30 or like 6, so I can at least go out for a run. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with that, but like I know when I wake up like around 7:30, I try to go for a run and try to get that out the way, so
Right.
I can at least avoid the beating sun in the evening, afternoon.
Yeah.
In the morning too.
Yeah, I know, and sometimes I'll run it at noon, and then I'll get done, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm seeing stars,
Yeah, it's yeah. I think the worst times to run is after even from 11 to like
I feel like until 4 or 5.
5,
Yeah,
11 to
yeah.
5 or 11, even 11 to 6, because that's the peak hour.
Right,
A
yeah.
lot of people get mistaken. Oh, I could run at 6, but nah, it's still hot.
Right. And another thing that I don't like about running in the city at around 5 or 6 is there's so many cars on the road, and there's so many much
The parking too.
Yeah, well, the parking, but even if I'm just taking a run, from the studio, I'll run outside and there's just cars everywhere, and I just feel like I'm breathing in those fumes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, this can't be good,
Right.
It's just too much people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, and I'm sure that you've seen the city change over the years,
Yeah,
because being a Houston native,
Yeah.
has it? You could kind of tell that it's packing in.
Yeah, like a lot of I see there's a lot more cars, definitely more, even more nightlife, a little bit more of it too.
Right. Yeah, here on Washington, it gets nuts.
It gets crazy.
Yeah.
I was at I think last month I came to Washington, and it was a lot of cars, people,
crazy.
craziness.
Were you here for the nightlife? You were
Yeah,
here?
yeah, the nightlife. And,
Or were you taking photos?
no, the nightlife.
Oh,
Just
okay,
going
so, yeah,
out, get some drinks,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
then
What's your go-to drink? What's your go-to beverage?
oh, that's a good question. What was yours?
Well, so lately I have been trying to run and kind of get my cardio back to where it needs to be, and I love margaritas, so I would
Dude,
go
you're
out.
not
and
the only one.
I would. Oh God.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we could talk about is the these Texas margaritas, but yeah, no, if I'm going out and I'm getting and my plan is to get a little tipsy and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm ordering shots. Like I'm ordering tequila shots, and that's my thing. I could drink like a water and a sip on a water all night, but I like those small doses of tequila, straight tequila.
Yeah. Well, my favorite, I usually go for cranberry vodka.
Like some Tito's. Yeah.
Yeah. I like vodka too. Tequila is really good too.
Love tequila. Yeah, it's kind of my go-to right now. Like a shot of tequila. I did a podcast the other day with my friend Dylan, and we didn't have anything to chase it. We didn't have any limes or anything. But my ideal is a shot of good quality tequila and a slice of an orange. That's like
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's the
why
go-to.
that's why I got. I think.
yeah.
There's this place called High Social.
Yeah, I've been to Heights Social.
Yeah, I got like a shot of. I bought some shots for my friends. It
Right.
was like 3 Casamigos Reposado.
Oh crap! Yeah.
With the orange slice.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
a good reposado. It's crazy the markup that these restaurants and bars have on these bottles. We were just talking about that the other day. You could buy a bottle of Casamigos for $40, but they're freaking charging like 15 a shot and stuff. I still do it. I'm not gonna say I don't, but
Yeah, but then
it's the
again, it's
convenience.
ridiculous sometimes.
Ridiculous, yeah.
It's just. I guess that's the industry.
Yeah, that is the industry. I going through college, I was working at a couple bars back at home, and it's. I mean, people want to drink.
Yeah,
people want
they
to
just- they
be in
wanna
a
have
social
fun.
environment. So
They want to get it started and get the vibe going.
yeah, get that party started. I know. I always was
Because
a
it's
big fan
boring. It's boring if you're not drinking. You're just there.
Exactly.
You gotta take something.
Yeah. yeah. I've been rolling up a nice joint every now and then lately. Yeah, that's kind of the go-to. I've kind of veered away from alcohol because I'll wake up and
Have you
I'll
ever
just
gotten
feel
like a hangover?
ass. On alcohol?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like how many times? Maybe like for me 2 times. I'm not too much of a drinker.
Oh well, definitely more than 2 times.
What about you? Haven't blacked out, have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've made a lot of bad decisions. I've made a lot of big mistakes, and I guess that's just a part of growing. But yeah, I started drinking before I was 21, and because it was rebellious, and it was fun to go out and do something that you're not supposed to do. And usually me and my friends would, talk somebody into buying us a case of beer or, getting a bottle of tequila, or
Right.
maybe we would go in their parents' cabinet and maybe pull out some, bunch of whiskey and fill the bottle back up with water to make sure the level was right. So yeah, we've done it all, but yeah, no, yeah, I've had some rough nights on alcohol, and it'll change you. I've had nights where I have way too much whiskey and I get angry, and it's crazy what these. I mean, alcohol is a substance, It's crazy what these substances can do and how they could kind of change your thinking process and things like that. But that's if you're too far gone, and that I'm too old for that these days. Last time that happened was probably, it had to be, 5 years ago or so, which was 23. Maybe actually more recent, but I know it's alcohol is just one of those things. But that's the thing. Once you get the drinks flowing, they keep flowing, and
it just becomes a habit.
Yeah, and then you get drunk, and you're like, bring me another one.
Yeah, because you're so lost, like
you're gone.
Yeah, like you're not in touch with yourself.
Exactly.
Like with your senses.
Yeah, it's a numbing agent,
Yeah,
it
is, and it
agent.
just kind of loosens you up even more.
Yeah.
With it boosts like your confidence just a little bit.
Yeah, I've been with some of the hottest chicks after drinking. A long night of drinking. I wake up and I'm like, damn, how'd you get here? It's not. No, it's not that crazy. But
what about you? What about you, Louis? You're a little bit quiet, bro.
Nah, like for me, I'm a lightweight. It does not take me long. Like I can literally just take like one drink of margarita, just one glass, and I'm already there.
Yeah, well,
And
these
I'm just
margaritas are nuts around here,
Yeah.
man. There's a place I was telling y'all before we started. There's a place across the street called Spanish Flower, and there's a margarita there that you could get. It's called the Tequila Rita, and it's a normal, potent margarita.
Right.
But they also add this bottle of straight tequila on the top. So you know how they do the Corona Ritas and things like that, and they put the beer into the margarita, and as you drink the margarita, beer kind of seeps into the drink and stuff. Well, that's how it does, but with a bottle of tequila. So you keep drinking your margarita down, and the percentage of tequila in your drink starts to increase. And by the end of your drink, you only need one and it'll put you in the grave.
Yeah.
Two, you better just just go ahead and start planning with your local mortuary, because it gets nuts. It's definitely that's why you don't drink and drive, and
Yeah, it's better to just Uber.
I living in Houston, I
That's what people
don't
should
drink
do.
and drive. I refuse to, because I'll go out and drink and everything, but dude, if I get hit with a $10,000 fine for drinking and driving and have to go to jail and have to do all of these things, dude, it's not worth it, man. I'd rather spend $10 on an Uber, or whatever.
Even $30, even 40.
I'd spend $100 on it. I mean, that's don't tell Uber this. We're going to see our prices increase, but yeah, it's just not worth it. And it would be such a shame to wake up after a night of heavy drinking and to find out that you killed somebody, or killed somebody's mom or dad or sister or brother or family, and it's important. It's important for people to not drink and drive, because it's a fact. Alcohol jacks your senses up,
It does. Your mechanics of how you think.
And you're risk taking. If you're a risk taker already and you're drinking, you're gonna be risking it all. So that's another thing. These casinos. You go to these casinos. I know have you been? There's some casinos out in Louisiana.
What's it called?
Like the Golden Nugget.
Like
in Jersey, like we have the boardwalk, the Atlantic City boardwalk. Dude, that whole boardwalk literally takes you like 10 minutes. You're already in a casino. I already walked in a couple casinos, and just the vibes in there is insane. Because I used to dorm by the shore, by the boardwalk,
right,
back in Jersey, and my friends and I, we would just like, if we were bored, literally like two in the morning. We'll just like, hey, let's just go to the casino and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And you just see people just gambling. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're gambling, they give you free drinks, and free drinks equals more gambling. I mean, or just outrageous bets or outrageous risks. But yeah, I have a friend. He's a professional gambler. Shout out my boy Jace Miguez, and he goes to these casinos and he plays a lot of slot machines and things like that. But he'll go around and he says these casinos will feed you alcohol like nobody's business. And that's how they make a profit, and alcohol, yes, is expensive, but the amount of money that these people are betting, it makes up for it,
It's like
so
they're already profiting at that point.
Exactly. And it's kind of a sleazy little business that they have going on, it's almost like it's almost like date raping these, handing out date rape drugs to these to people, because it's the same concept. If you go to a bar, somebody's some freak is trying to get with somebody, and they get with them because they're jacked up on drugs. It's the same thing. They're gambling. They want you to spend money. They're feeding you a substance that alters everything, and they get money out of it. So it's kind of a weird little system, but yeah, I guess I don't know if that's a
especially
appropriate analogy, but it is what it is,
Yeah. Like in Las Vegas, like there's a lot of stuff like that too as well.
Yeah, and then prostitution's legal in Vegas too.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's fucking wild.
I know that you go to Vegas and it is legal, so you'll be walking around on the strip and you'll be handed cards with these women's face on them and their name, like like Cherry or whatever.
Yeah.
And people that are on like bachelor trips and things, they'll try to collect these cards and try to collect a lot of them, a lot of different ones, just for the like almost like
Pokemon cards.
Almost like Pokemon cards, yeah. And so I have never actually seen one, but this is just a story that I've been told. But yeah, they have like the contact name on them, how you could schedule with them and things like that. So yeah, I guess there's business everywhere, and that may actually not be a bad place for some photography,
Yeah.
It's a whole new vibe, and I'm sure being out in, you said that you had been out to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And did you say you had been to Los Angeles?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
I follow a page, and you guys may follow it too. I don't know the name. I wish I did so I could shout them out. But they go through Los Angeles, and they have these hookers on the street, and they're photographing these events, and it's just like they're capturing such a Los Angeles vibe, and it's so crazy. I'll send you guys the page that I'm talking about. Y'all could scroll through it, but yeah, you see these. Obviously, you can tell that some of these people are on drugs and things like that, but they're walking up to these cars and asking them if they need a good time or whatever, or maybe swapping money for a substance or things like that. But it's the ability to capture an image and let that image tell a story is very powerful and very unique. Whatever that story may be, and I think everything needs awareness, because some people, they go through life and they don't really understand the full complexity of everything that's going on here, because humans, we're digging in a lot of areas. We're anything that there's something to get into, there's going to be a human there doing it.
Yeah.
So. I think awareness is really big, but I guess jumping back to photography and things like that, what are some of the challenges that you guys face when y'all are going to a shoot?
So, like for me, it usually comes with like the time management. You want to make sure they're on time and you're on time. You don't want any problems with that. And also, I would say, just mainly, I would say communication is very important. You want to communicate. You want to be comfortable communicating with them. I feel like if there's no communication, it's not going to turn out good.
Right. I think communication is definitely a big key.
Also, yeah, don't forget your SD cards and make sure your camera's charged.
Yeah.
Because that would be embarrassing.
Yeah, getting out there and getting ready and realizing you don't have any memory or any power.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah.
No. No.
Has that ever happened?
Well, basically, I left the house and I forgot my SD card and my camera, so I went back, but not at the shoot.
Right.
Yeah, I always make sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy the components that are required in the business. You almost have to have a full checklist to run through to make sure that you're not forgetting anything. I know, back to what you said about being able to communicate and things like that. Last week I was so disappointed actually because I had a hairdresser on, and we had scheduled, we had confirmed, we'd been messaging through her business account.
Right.
And so, the day before, I sent her a list of questions so she could look at it as per request. And, I said, hey, everything's looking good on my side for 4 p.m. today or 4 p.m. tomorrow and whatnot. So, the day of, I messaged her that morning, hey, everything looking good. Everything looked good. So, about 3 o'clock came around, and so I messaged the business account that I had been previously communicating with. And I was like, hey, when you get here, park on the first floor of the parking garage. Let me know when you're here. I'll come down and get you. And I never got a response. I was like, okay, maybe she's just busy or on the road or something like that.
You never know.
So, 4 o'clock came around here. I didn't hear anything, which was the time of the appointment. 4:30 came around. I was like, hope everything's okay, because she had been communicating up to this point. And so 5 o'clock comes, and I'm like, hey, I messaged her. I was like, hey, hope everything's okay. Let me know if we need to reschedule, and that won't be a problem. So 6 o'clock comes around, and I get a message. She's like, I messaged you. I tried to reach out, and you never responded to me. And she was like, I can't believe you did that. And I was like, hold on now, like,
That's what I said. It becomes a problem, and it's not good.
Yeah, and I was like, hold on now. I said I reached out to you yesterday. I reached out to you to confirm today, and then I let you know before the thing where to park and everything. I was like, did you not get those messages? And she sends me a message, a screenshot of her message, where she had contacted me from a completely different profile, like something that we've never contacted each other on before. So it was just a single message that said, hey, I'm almost there. Where should I go? And under that message said, this person was not notified because you are not friends.
Yeah.
And she was irritated with me at the fact that I didn't get the message. She was like, I scheduled a babysitter for today. She said, I made plans and you stood me up. And I was like,
yeah.
First off, that's terrible. Yeah. Like, I'm so sorry that happened, and I'm so sorry that we weren't able to meet on the same level. But in my mind, I was thinking, I don't feel like that's right, because the profile that we had been messaging on, that's what I reached out on. And you can't reach. That's like, if you order groceries, the HEB has grocery pickup. It's like if you order groceries on this phone and then message HEB off your girlfriend's number when you get there and say, I'm at Bay 9 or whatever, it's not going to register. And, but yeah, even in the message, it said this person was not notified. And so I was just a little disappointed, because she was a cool chick, and she had some really cool stuff going on, and she did good work. And, but
that's the feeling.
Yeah. And I didn't even really know what to say at that point. I was like, I said, I'm sorry that, we ran into these issues. I said, and at that time I was ready. I'd been sitting here in the spot for the past hour and a half, waiting on her to prep and making sure everything's correct and appropriate for her. But I said, hey, I said, if it's not too late, I said, pull up, we could run it right now. And she said, absolutely not. And I was like, I said, okay. I said, if you decide that you still would like to do the show, then you could go in and reschedule. And I said, but again, sorry, and have a good day. And I never heard from her again. So I hope she didn't actually, I hope she was actually just trying to put the blame on me to feel better,
Right.
but and not actually think that I stood her up, because I wouldn't have done that. And like I said, this is episode 31, and out of all of these episodes, they've all been, everybody's shown up on time. So that was the first time I kind of ran into an issue where I'm like, oh damn, like and I don't know, maybe
People.
yeah, I guess so. And everybody's different, so
Everybody's different. That's why I learned through photography as well. Everybody is different. Usually when it comes to scheduling something, I always make sure that like you're legit,
right.
because I don't want to waste any time.
Yeah. Time is money. It really is. And there's only a couple hours in the day, and and you have to, when you're busy and when you have things going on and when you have a long list of boxes that you need to check for that day, it's hard. It's hard to hit something that kind of almost throws a wrench in things, and you can't waste time in the business. So
there's no wasting time, and especially if you have so much like care for it, you care for it so much. So you don't want to be feeling like disappointed.
Right. Yeah. And we're all human. I know things pop up, and I know shit happens. And so one time is fine, and if she schedules again in the future and it happens again, it's what's that saying? And
fool me once,
fool
me twice.
And I like the J. Cole version. Fool me 3 times, fuck the peace sign.
Oh yeah.
Pull the chopper, let it rain on you. Shout out J. Cole.
What do you think about that Kendrick and Drake beef? I know a lot of people are talking about it, but what's your opinion on that?
Well, after I saw that Kendrick did an event on Juneteenth with a bunch of people on stage, and he ran Not Like Us back 5 times, I was like, oof. It was a powerful statement, to say the least. And I'm a big fan of Drake. I like Drake.
Drake.
I like his songs. I think that he's whether he has a ghostwriter or not, I think that he is great for the role that he has, he has a couple great songs, and some of my favorite songs that by him aren't even the popular ones. There's a bunch of good ones that kind of dig deep into emotions and feelings and things like that. But like I said, man, once I like Kendrick too, and once I heard I saw the concert, and I was like, man, this guy he killed it. I don't know. I don't really want to take sides and say, oh, this guy won the beef or that guy won the beef. But it's definitely interesting to watch, from the outside looking in,
From the outside perspective.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I remember my YouTube feed was like being blown up with all this beef. So I was like, because I think when this happened, like a couple of months ago or something like that.
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Like, because I literally came back from Spain. I was there for like a week or 2. And when I came back, I was like, oh, what the fuck did I just miss? So it was just really hard to catch up. But like, I don't know. People were saying like, the Kendrick basically murdered Drake.
Yeah, like for me, it looked like the whole industry was against like Drake. Yeah. Because, rappers like Rick Ross and a lot of people that like Kendrick and even Metro Booming and Future, and like it was like one against like the whole industry, and it was just.
I mean, you saw crazy. Everybody on stage with Kendrick. I mean, that's a lot of people, and they were kind of representing Kendrick at that moment, So, and a lot of good people, and I know that in one of Drake's songs, he mentioned like YG. Well, YG was on stage with Kendrick, so yeah, I think that it's definitely interesting, to say the least.
It just makes you like think like Drake, like who has his back, or like what and what team that Drake is part of, or you just kind of see like, because Drake's not from the U.S., he's from Canada, so like it's just that's what people think of it, like he's not really, he doesn't know the culture too much, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it definitely I think goes deep. Especially when J. Cole did his apology to Kendrick, he was like, sorry, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no room for animosity in this business and things
Yeah.
like that. And when he did that, I was like,
He made a smart move.
It's J. Cole though, and I was like, there has to be something. So he obviously did make the smart move because you don't want no beef from somebody like Kendrick, because you saw, especially, I don't think that it would have been as powerful if Not Like Us wouldn't have came out. Not Like Us is the hardest one.
That was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah. And Drake, he has a couple good songs like Family Matters for the beef as far as the beef goes. But, Family Matters was crazy. And, and he switched up the song. And I believe it's Family Matters that he switched up 3 times. And Kendrick was like, bring 3 I'm bringing 3 switches. And Drake was like, I'm bringing 3 switches too. But he switched the song up 3 times. So there's a lot of small details in the mix. And I don't even know it all. It's just stuff that I saw while scrolling, and things like that. But yeah, they definitely blew up the internet. They're kind of running things at the moment. So yeah. What other? So you were mentioning that you had some bands in the area. What other kind of music are you into?
I know, like growing up, it was like rap and rock.
Right.
And especially right around like when I graduated from high school back in 2017, I saw like this new genre of like rap and rock being mixed in together, like XXXTentacion.
Yeah, and
you
like
have
how
WRLD.
Wayne did like years ago.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting seeing like 2 of my favorite genres, like at least being smushed into one. Like they called it like emo rap just because of how like the lyrics and everything was being presented.
Almost like skater
Yeah.
rap vibes. Yeah. That's like Drop the World. When Drop the World, I'm gonna pick the world up and I'm gonna drop it on your head. That was and then like Prom Queen. I know Lil Wayne came out with Prom Queen, and that was like the start of like his kind of rock rap style. But I love when people mix it up. You experiment, try new things to see what works.
That's what I try to do in my work.
Right.
I want to kind of have my own type of style.
Right.
So people could take inspiration and, take inspiration from that.
Right. What about the business side of these things, like the business aspects? Like how are you running the business?
So mainly like through commercial work, meaning graduation, events, maternity, like even through real estate, people need, more that side is the business side, it's commercial work, but the fun is more like portraits and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, the portraits were always cool to me. I need to get some portraits of myself just for fun. I want to put like a big portrait of my face somewhere in here when people walk in. It's like the Don. But yeah, man, it's crazy that life is so complex. There's so many niches, there's so many
Sub-genres.
Yes, and people could kind of move into all of these different categories, and it's so diverse, and that's what I love, And Houston, I think, is a great spot for someone such as yourself that wants to expand, expand their horizons and expand their creativity levels. What about some of you guys' favorite projects? If you're talking about like if there's one project that you guys were proud of, what would that be?
Mine would be it's on my website, JLOSORIO.com, and on my portfolio it's this it's called man, I forgot how I word it, but like it was like in search for paradise. And around that time, I collaborated with a cinematographer in Delaware, and I was just like super lost, super confused with what I was doing. I was like giving up with my passion, and it's crazy because when I moved here, I basically erased my Instagram, and I didn't have an Instagram, but I was still having people reaching out to me like, hey, like specifically Midnight Beverage, which I'm like super grateful for them that they stuck around because uh, it's just like I don't know, like the fact that they still saw something in me, even though like I was slowly giving up with what I was doing, but they were still giving me a chance, and that's when I was like, you know what, like I have to make an Instagram now. So when May hit, I made a brand new Instagram starting from scratch.
Wow.
But like that project that I did in Delaware was basically just like me losing my passion. I also got a logo for it as well. It's like a guy in the ship going through like the sea, and essentially it's just like, you know, like it might be rough now. It's never gonna be easy, but like once you get through the storm, like it's gonna be clear. You're gonna find your paradise.
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
it took me a while to at least be able to see the paradise. I feel like I'm seeing it right there by the horizon, but I'm not 100% like I'm there, but I can definitely see it on my end.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and you said the storm that actually made me think. I have a tattoo on my arm. It says "Brave the Storm," and I actually got that saying from a Norman Rockwell Cup back in the day when I was in school. I was taking all these crazy exams and things like that, and so every day that I had an exam, I would drink out of this special coffee cup, and it was a Norman Rockwell Cup, and the main it had a really cool design on it, and it's this guy by himself on this boat just like dealing with these crazy waves, and then it has Brave the Storm on it, and then it has like a little excerpt to where like it kind of explains and what it is.
Right.
And dude, it always stuck with me, and it always meant a lot, because it's like, you know, that's life. You know, you're going out and you're dealing with these crazy waves, and you never know what weather's going to be like, and you never know what the ship's going to do, or what you have to kind of make adjustments to the boat in order to make it, you know, because
Right.
the sea is a wild animal. You know,
Yeah,
the
it
sea
is.
sucks up people like nobody's business. I mean, there's people that go out to sea and have gone missing.
Yeah.
Boats, ships, planes. It eats planes up. You know, so braving the storm was definitely a powerful thing, and I think that, you know, you kind of understand that too, which is big. What about you? What's a time a project that really stood out to you?
For me, it was the Hoka campaign.
Oh, Hoka is in like the shoes?
The shoes, yeah.
What? That's cool.
So yeah, I got together with like someone that works for Hoka, you know, and he's a runner, and I was just talking to him like, hey, you know, do you need like any help with any like future like projects, or any shoes are gonna come out I could help with? And then he's like, yeah, we could do like a campaign for like the new it was like what was the new some new Hoka shoes that were gonna come out. Basically, I believe it was the it started with an M, something like that.
Right. Yeah, I know Hoka has some crazy names, and also shout
The
out
Clifton,
to Hoka.
the Clifton.
Oh, the
9,
Cliftons,
the
yeah.
Clifton.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Clifton ones. They were gonna they were gonna come out with some new like color, some new
Like color patterns.
and all that. And yeah, so I organized it, and I just kind of told people about it, and just we set up the shoot at some type of like park. I think it was like a park, and then we just got together, and I think it's just cool to like shoot for a brand. You know, I always wanted to
Right.
shoot for a brand, so like Hoka was one of my first brands I shot with.
Wow. And also, again,
And
shout
also
out
we
to
got
Hoka,
like free
yeah.
shoes.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
What?
Yeah,
Man,
free Hokas.
I love Hokas, and everybody in the medical
Yeah.
industry has Hokas, you know,
Yeah.
because people are on their feet for 12 hours at a time, and you know, the type of shoes that you wear really matters.
It
and
does.
and you know, when you have something soft like a nice pair of Clifton 9s, you know,
Yeah.
some good Hokas, then you
It's
the
like you're stepping on clouds.
Yeah, the impact on your feet is just I mean, it's crazy. And then you wear bad shoes and you're like, "Oh shit, like I need to get these shoes off quick."
Yeah.
And especially if they're uncomfortable, rubbing your heel and kind of making a blister, you have those shoes that do that. But I have 3 pairs of Hoka's myself, and I love them all. Yeah, I run with them every day. So
Yeah, Hokas are really good for long distance running, even for like lifestyle. People use them for like, they look nice with
Like casual
outfits
wear and stuff like
right,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that shoe was really one of my favorite projects to this day. I just want to work with more brands like that too.
Yeah, yeah. I think being able to go out and experience working with brands like that is great, and maybe a couple brand shoots after that, you really get the hang of it, and people start pulling you in for more shoots. So I think once you get in that field, then things are set,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so. I think that's a great way to make an awesome living, So,
That's definitely one of like my goal. I'm getting there to that point where I could work with more big brands like that.
right. Do you have any that you have your eye on right now?
Maybe.
I know for me, it's some energy bar that I found on Instagram. It was actually within the group chat that we're in with the photographers. He's in Washington State, and he posted this like energy bar that is horchata flavor. So I followed that page, and I ended up just sending them like a cover letter. It's like, hey, like I would like to either do a brand collaboration, possibly make this into a sponsorship. Like, I don't. Right now, I'm sitting at 81 or 80 followers, and I put in the emails like, hey, like I have fewer than 100, but like I'm passionate about running. Like that's all I did growing up, because it was one way for me to be off the streets, because where I grew up, it wasn't that good, and it was the cheapest sport for me to do, because like all you need is just a pair of running shoes, and that's it.
Yeah, right.
I also grew up in a running type of environment. I did cross country and.
Oh yeah, my big butt was never able to do cross country. I went to the cross country coach, and I was big, I was a bigger guy. I could run now, but at the time I wasn't the best at running, but I would run. And I told him, I was like, hey, I want to be a part of the cross country team. I want to lose weight, and I want to be good at running. And they looked at me and they went. They looked at each other.
That's wild.
They looked at each other and they looked at me and they were like, okay, never heard anything from him again. I was like, well,
they should watch that McFarlane movie where they have one of the Diaz brothers. He's like heavy set, and then towards the very end of the movie, he's like the 5th man to cross the line, because you need 5 people to make the point.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, and after that, a couple years later, I think I ran 14 miles, and after the after I ran, I 14 miles straight, no stopping.
I can't do that.
And I finished. I don't know if I could do that now. My knee's not the same. But I finished, and the first thing that I thought about was this guy named Coach Davis, and I was like, that asshole. I never reached out or anything, but it's one of those things. Like, man, if somebody comes to you and says that they want to do something, at least give them a chance.
Right?
Don't shit on them. So, we never really saw eye to eye after that. I was like, man, this guy doesn't care about. He doesn't really care about the job, being a coach, and so I just I was like, whatever. But yeah, no, it's crazy, man. I had something. Oh, I remember something popped in my head earlier, and I was like, I got to tell these guys. But you know what? I think you guys would like, if y'all like to run and things like that. And it's something that I actually thought about attending myself that I haven't yet, but will be soon. It's called Good Guys Running Club. It's right here in Houston. It's I think from Instagram, I think it's probably one of the biggest groups in the area. And they meet at Highline Park over here. It's right across I-10 in the Heights area. And there's probably there's probably hundreds of people there. But yeah, they take a route, and I think they run like 3.5 miles or something.
Okay.
But they meet every Wednesday, I think it's 7:00, and they're meeting today. So
It's funny that you mentioned that because we actually went to a running club last week, and it's called Sexy Pacer Running Club.
Sexy Pace Running Club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "Yo, you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah," because like ever since I moved here, like I've been trying to be consistent with running. I know March was the only month that I actually ran almost a whole entire 30 days straight, which wouldn't be the smartest idea,
Right.
but I was like, I want to see what kind of changes I can see on my body.
Sure.
And I saw like some pretty crazy changes. Like I was getting a bit more toner. I was developing more muscle on my legs and being more defined. But yeah, like he was like, "Yo, like we should go." I was like, "Yeah." Like I've never been to a running club at all, or like ran in a group since since university. And I was like, why not?
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful experience because, you know, everybody wants to like better themselves, and you know, you get to see just everybody like they want to put their effort in running. So, you know, yeah, it's kind of cool to go to one of those running clubs.
Yeah, and also the ability to strengthen your mind too, you know, because
yeah, it's all mental.
even on some days, even recently, not today though, I pushed through today, but even, you know, some days I'll be running and I am beat, man. I mean, the heat's beating down on me. Yeah, maybe I feel like I haven't drank enough water. My muscles are a little more tired than usual, but the ability to push through in a difficult activity and finishing and being like, you know, like it's
mind over matter, man.
Yeah, and I think strengthening the mind to continuing even in a time of struggle, you know, is very big. And you know, not only does that go for running, but it also goes for life in general, you know, and things that you do. So, yeah, I think that running is good. And how was it, by the way? How was the running club?
It was a really good experience.
Really?
10 out of 10.
Really?
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
What made it awesome?
Because
was there a lot of cuties there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I need. I need a nice, healthy running chick. You know, somebody that's healthy.
I want one too.
I stay tunnel vision, man. I don't get distracted.
Yeah,
but
see, that's good.
For me, dude, like because I know when we got there, he was like, "Oh, like we should be like in the front of the pack or lead the pack." I was like, "Dude, it's been a while for me to run."
Yeah, and some of those cats out there are freaking like gazelles, you know.
Yeah, like it's funny because when it's 3 miles, by the way, 5K.
Okay.
And so we started right. It's at Memorial Park. They have it in Memorial Park. They're actually having it today too. At 7:30.
Maybe that's like a thing. All the running clubs meet it.
Hey, everybody's on their running era.
Yeah, I think it's moving into that natural like the guy that I had on yesterday. He's a fitness instructor, and I mean he's jacked. He's from out of the country. Cameroon is where he's from. Okay. And I mean, the dude looks like a freaking god. I mean, the dude's chiseled up, and you know, he was like, I don't like being chiseled. I don't like, this is not, it looks like I'm on steroids. It looks like I've taken, you know, crazy supplements. He said the move now is to just be healthy, you know, to be healthy, happy, and mobile, you know, to be able to go on a 3.5 mile run and to, you know, because a lot of these big freaking muscle men out there, you put them on a mile run and they're not making it. Yeah, they're not making it. And you know, that's not to say that, you know, it's not good to lift weights and things like that, but you know, just being an overall healthy and fit person, you know, naturally fit.
Yeah, because for me, my approach with like what I'm trying to do in my fitness journey is just to have functioning muscles and not aesthetic muscles. Because like you could be, you could be a bodybuilder, but if you don't have proper form on throwing a punch, it's gonna be like the weakest punch you can throw.
Right. I mean, look at Nate Diaz, you know,
exactly,
or somebody like that. You know, he's one of the baddest men on the planet, and
but he doesn't look like he's in shape.
He doesn't look like, you know, he's smoking a joint, you know, not caring, flipping you off, you know. But when it comes down to it, the cardio and the ability that guy has to
It's insane.
It's crazy. I mean, the dude's a certified killer, you know, and that's just all there is to it. But yeah, and even look at who's the boxer, the big goofball,
Ryan Garcia.
No, that's that's the other goofball. Because that dude's built. I'm thinking about Tyson Fury.
Oh, okay.
You know, Tyson Fury is this freaking big walrus looking dude, but you get in the boxing ring with him and he's not anything to play around with, you know. So yeah, it's crazy. The human body and the ability that we have as just humans is ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
And I definitely need to work on my fitness. I'm on a journey as well, and I'm in the process of trying to lose a little bit of weight and along with that trying to build a little bit of muscle. I've been skipping out on my weightlifting lately, but you know, I think it's definitely important to stay healthy and to stay able, you know, to be able to do things, to be able to go to the mall and walk around the mall, you know, because there's some people that can't. There's some people that are too out of shape. They go to the mall, they'd rather hit Cheesecake Factory and freaking, you know, even HEB. You go to HEB and there's people that can't go around and get their groceries because they're overweight, you know, so they're driving around in the buggies, you know, packing Uncrustables into their you know, basket, you know. So it's definitely a gift to have an able body, you know, and it's even more of a gift to have a mind that can control the body in order to maximize potential. And it's just a beautiful thing this life is, you know. So yeah, cheers to that. But what else is on you guys' agenda, you know? So it doesn't even have to be according to photography, but you know, what do y'all have in plans for the future?
For me, it's just I guess just getting out of my comfort zone. Like for him, he's just like dragging me to places to go.
Hey, here we are on a podcast now. Yeah.
Yeah. So because he wants me to network. Because like I said, like after telling him my story, like how he got like inspired from my story, he was like, well, like the fact that you moved thousands of miles to come here
it's
with.
nuts.
I never met somebody like that.
I mean, it's crazy, you know. I mean, like I said, who's gonna have the guts to do that? You know, people want to feel safe. They want to
feel safe and comfortable.
Right.
Like
That's
a lot of my
the main-
coworkers tell me like, you're crazy for doing something like that. Like you have no family. Like don't you feel alone? I was like, this is my second time living alone.
Yeah,
the
and
first
it's part
time
of the
living
story.
alone. Yeah, it's just it's something that you get used to. Unfortunately, because for me, I've always been like a shy and awkward person.
Right.
So I had like pretty bad social anxiety, so it was easier for me to stay inside and locked up.
Well,
And,
you're good at speaking. You know, you're. I think that you're a presentable person. You know, so yeah, just lean into that.
Yeah, thank you. But
this guy's you're doing an amazing job. You know, kind of show, because I mean, when you come to a new place, it's kind of scary. You know, I mean, it's kind of you look out and Houston's so big and diverse, and there's tons of people here. I think it's good that you guys made friends and that y'all are able to go and do things together, like run a club, working together, and I think that's definitely big.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of photography.
Yeah, and you know, and that's another thing that I'd like to say. I think that photography, hands down. I mean, I know I keep saying this. Episode 31 now. I've talked to a lot of different people. The photography group, the photography environment, I mean, the photography community is the absolute strongest group of individuals that I've spoken to yet. I mean, you guys' community is real tight knit, and it's really impressive.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've realized that, especially coming from Jersey, where I feel like, or maybe it's just like the area that I grew up in, but it just felt so cliquey, and people just like if they didn't see anything that they could like I guess like benefit from you, like they won't talk to you at all. Like once they get something out of you, it's like it's a one and done deal.
Nuts. Yeah, and that's what one of my friends, my friend Nick, he's from Austin, and he was like, man, he said, I moved to Houston because in Austin, if you don't have 10, 20, 30,000 followers at least, then you're not shit. You know,
Yeah.
you try to talk to chicks, and chicks find out that you only have 100 followers. They're not interested. They're looking for the
and
big
that's the
fish.
truth of it. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this right now. It's all numbers. It's
Yeah.
all number. At the end of the day, it's business.
It is business, and you, sir, have been successful in it because I mean, you.
Yeah,
I think that you have over 10,000
Yeah,
followers, and it's tough. You know,
It's tough. It's not easy.
Getting one person to click follow is so tough. I mean, I think
it's hard.
I am almost at 200 followers now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
Yeah.
understand the grind, and I understand that. I understand baby steps, so I'm
Right.
cool. I'm proud of the 200, but
Yeah.
But you know, it's
Just like thinking about reaching like his numbers is crazy. For
It's
me, like I said, I'm only
ridiculous.
at 80, and I'm just like, dude, like,
yeah.
I can't even imagine like 5 times that or even 20 times that.
I know.
Yeah.
I still have a screenshot from when I started Spacejumper podcast Instagram, and I think I'm following like 20 people, and I have 15 followers, and I'm like, let's do this. So, you know, I'm gonna keep on building, and maybe
Yeah, no, that's the point of it.
maybe
Keep on
one
building.
day, maybe one day I'll be able to put the 15 followers screenshot next to the you
Right.
know, however many it may be, but
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
we're just having fun with it too, you know, and being
Yeah.
able to talk to people that have different stories and that have different crazy careers, and it's really amazing to see what everybody's.
Yeah, it gives you a feeling of like more like purpose, you know, like
Sure.
like you're helping other people.
Dude, this weather's crazy.
Raining. I was like, what is that noise? And it's just pouring down raining.
Dude, like I think like earlier, like 10 minutes ago, I saw lightning.
That's crazy. And you know, you were here for the recent
Surprisingly,
Dorito or
I was-
or whatever.
I was grateful to have the power in my apartment, but
Yeah.
like where I was working at Willowbrook, like that whole area, there was customers that had no power for like they were saying, "Oh, I have no power," and it's like the 3rd day, 4th day, and
Wow.
I
Working,
had like
as in, were you doing photography or working? Are you?
because I'm hired as a like a camera specialist in Best Buy, so like customers were like
oh,
there.
dope. Which Best Buy?
Willowbrook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said that. I'm sorry. Where is Willowbrook? That's not by the Galleria,
it's the
huh?
north side.
No, it's like up north.
It's all the way north.
Okay.
Almost towards Woodlands.
Yeah, the one that I go to is right there by the Galleria.
Yeah.
I live around that area.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Best Buy, by the way, because it's I got the $50 membership
Okay.
when I bought my camera, and I think that I got like a couple $100 back from that, so it made sense. But
Oh hell yeah.
I have a friend, Logan. He's really big into Call of Duty right now, and he's in the process of ordering a new computer and a new monitor and things like that. And he's going through Best Buy. Honestly, Best Buy's you know, if you're going for even for you know, for getting repairs like from the Geek Squad and things like that,
Yeah.
it's Best Buy is just kind of like my go-to,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah, the reason I was asking is because if it was the food and beverage industry, I had a lady on yesterday. She's the co-founder and executive director of a foundation called Southern Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that is slightly even affected by anything, any event, whether it be weather or somebody steals their bike for that, and their bike is their mode of transportation into work,
Yeah.
you put in an application and they will refund you or buy you a new bike, or if you're out of work for 3 or 4 days or 5 days for maybe electric power's out, then you could put an application in with Southern Smoke. They'll review it, and however much that they think that you would have made over those 5 days, they'll
Right.
refund you. It's a really crazy nonprofit organization. So yeah, if you know anybody in the food and beverage industry that ever runs into any problems, they are definitely the group to reach out to. Southern Smoke is so.
Pretty
But
nice.
yeah, no, and I worked in the food and beverage industry growing up. I worked as a bar back, a bartender, a food runner, a waiter. I've done it all in the food industry.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't know that was even a thing. So, and it doesn't cater to Houston. It's full United States. And she was telling me that last year, I believe, they had fires in Maui, and so they're still working through applications from the fires in Maui. But yeah, they're a multi-million-dollar foundation, and they help wherever they can, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I guess we're almost almost running into almost 2 hours now. So I guess we could get on the road to finishing this bad boy up. First off, let me go ahead and ask you about your you guys' portfolio. So how does that work? I mean, when you're organizing a portfolio for people to look at, to observe your work, are you using a diverse set of materials or what?
Well, for me, since I specialize in portraits mainly, I'm a portrait photographer. I usually like just obviously just keep the same formula. Like I just post portraits and just making sure that it's the quality is there for people to see.
Right.
The editing is good, the quality is good. Everything has to kind of blend in to make it look very nice,
Right.
And you just got to make it look eye-catching, and you got to make it look like you care,
Do you
Right.
post that only on Instagram, or do you have like a website?
I post it mainly on my Instagram, but my other work's on my website as well.
Okay. Yeah, and before y'all leave, I'll give you my number, and y'all could send me y'all's website links, and I could post that on the post also.
All right.
So, and my last question was: is there a particular direction y'all want to go? But we already talked about portfolios or kind of brand deals and things like that. But yeah, first, I guess lastly, I'd like to say thank you guys for coming. I mean, I was only expecting Ivan today, but
Yeah.
I'm glad you came as well, and we were able to kind of have a full circle conversation about photography and kind of have some different viewpoints and things like that. And also, your story is really incredible. So yeah, I'm glad that you're leaning into that, because it's it's very important for people to know that when somebody wants something, you have to get out there and do it and pursue it to actually achieve it, So it definitely takes some effort, and anybody with eyes can see that if somebody's moving across the United States, it's because they want it, and I think that it's very amazing. So lastly, where can we find you guys at on Instagram?
My Instagram is Ivan RDO Photos.
And my Instagram is it's pretty funny because it's with my name,
Nice.
The Life of J-Lo.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy.
How do you spell that?
What?
J-Lo.
Was JLO.
JLO.
Yeah,
okay.
but my name is Jose Luis Osorio.
Yeah.
So I was like, because when I was planning on making my Instagram again, I was like, what should it be? Because I kind of wanted to be photo related, but at the same time, I was like, I feel like I might want to move into like the influencer content creator route, so I can get brand deals and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was like, I'll just put The Life of J-Lo.
Nice. I like it. I think that that's a good approach. So, well, gentlemen, I thank you for coming today, and both of you guys are really doing some amazing things. And if I ever need a portrait done, you are going to be the first person that I reach out to, because again, your work is amazing.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
as far as you, I can't wait to see the content that you create in the future. And I actually have a couple of accounts and ideas that I'll send you later.
All right.
That maybe you could get some inspiration from. But again, thank you for coming, and thank you guys for watching the Spacejumper podcast.